Hello everybody and welcome back to the build. In this video we are going to install the clutch on the LT4 engine. As you can see, I have the flywheel reinstalled on the engine, and I basically used some bolts that RCR provided, and those bolts get torqued to 74 foot-pounds, and you use 3 increments. So you start off at 22 foot-pounds, then 37, and then you finish at 74 foot-pounds. And you basically do sort of a star pattern. So you tighten one bolt up to the first increment, then the bolt that sits across, you tighten that one up, and it draws the flywheel consistently tight to the crankshaft. Okay, so anyway, we're going to segue over and we'll take a look at the clutch and some of the tools. Okay, well this is what we'll be installing on the car. Let's see, we've got a couple items here. This is a factory R8 clutch that we're installing. Some builders with high horsepower engines go with a Kevlar clutch, an aftermarket clutch. Excuse me. I just decided to stick with the Audi clutch since I'll be street driving this car. If I was using slicks and tracking the car, I would upgrade the clutch. But anyway, I think for me this will do the job. We have a matching ring gear, and this the starter attaches to and rotates, rotates the crankshaft. So you can start the engine. Basically the way this is installed is there's 3 bolts, exposed bolts on the pressure plate here, and they match up with these indentations on the ring gear. So, if you sort of set it up like this, that's the way it goes, and then through the remaining holes go the bolts. So RCR provides the matching bolts to install the clutch. I had to purchase a clutch alignment tool. I got this from VW Snap-on. They make some parts for Audi, and this is the correct part number for this particular tool. There's always a little confusion what the correct tool is, and essentially what we'll do is we'll place this on the flywheel, and then we center the clutch. This pin goes into the pilot bearing, and then we center the clutch, install the bolts and torque them up, and then we'll be done. All right, so stay tuned. You know what, before we put the clutch on, I thought this was worth covering. The Audi clutch, sort of has a reputation for not lasting very long, and now I can sort of see why. I mean, here you got the springs that you have to press into to disengage the clutch. Then you have the clutch material, and what I noticed is, there's 2 clutch plates here. Whoa. We have this and we have this. So there's rivets that hold the clutch lining onto the discs, and they're riveted from this side and then from the other side. And what I noticed is there's less than like a millimeter, 0.95 millimeter, before the rivets sitting on the top start to touch the flywheel. And then I measured the indentation of these wear bars. So you only have about a millimeter worth of clutch lining before you have to replace it. And this is, like $2,000. So, if I blow through this clutch really quick, I'll certainly upgrade to a Kevlar clutch, which depending upon who you listen to, it lasts anywhere between 20% longer and double the life. But I think I'll probably get between 10 and 20,000 miles out of this clutch. And if it burns up, it burns up, and then we'll put something more durable in. Okay, anyway, let's look at the install. All right, well, here's an interim step before we put the clutch on the flywheel. But anyway, I installed the ring gear, and it turns out This ring gear only orients itself in one way, so that each one of these nuts lines up with the recess, and then the 6mm screws line up with the holes in the clutch. So each one of these bolts is going to get some blue Loctite, and then we'll use this miniature or small torque wrench, and we'll torque these up to 107 inch-pounds. So they don't really need a tremendous amount of torque to hold it on the flywheel. Okay, so before I just jump right in, because everything tends to be more complicated and never goes according to plan. I've got the clutch alignment tool here, and it's going to mate with the pilot bearing. So I put some WD-40 on there so I can just jiggle it ever so slightly and not damage the bearing. Okay, so that's going to help center the clutch perfectly, so the splines on the transaxle made up with the installed clutch. So that's the purpose behind that tool. Okay, I love it when a plan comes together. So I decided not to put the Loctite on the bolts yet. I just wanted to make sure the bolts aligned with the flywheel. I also put some towels down just in case I dropped my expensive Audi clutch. You know, whatever can goes wrong goes wrong. I definitely had to fuss a little bit to get all these bolts in. This particular edge of the ring gear wasn't seated, and you know, it finally clicked, and then everything sort of lined up. So one at a time, I'm going to take these bolts out. They're going to get torqued to 107 inch-pounds. I'll do 50 in a cross pattern, then 75, and then we'll do 107. Then we'll take a look at it and we'll call it a wrap. Okay, we're at the tail end here, so I've got all the bolts torqued up. Let's see, we've got to remove the clutch alignment tool, and then I think we'll call it a wrap. So just, oh, there we go. Came out pretty good. I put a little WD-40 on that, so I didn't want it to be stuck in there. But anyway, I think we're gonna call it a wrap. Maybe we'll get another view of it. There it is, the Audi R8 clutch mated to a Chevy LT4 supercharged engine. It's going to be interesting to see how this performs. All right, thanks for watching, and take care.